There is something genuinely chaotic about a synthesizer that fits in your pocket, but sounds like it is trying to tear a hole in the fabric of reality. Most people look at this little black box and see a toy, but once you start messing with that ribbon controller, it becomes clear that this is a serious piece of sound design gear disguised as a gadget. It is not trying to be a workstation or a studio centerpiece. Instead, it is a dedicated machine for making weird, spacey, and downright aggressive noises that you just cannot get out of a standard digital plugin. The real magic here is the filter. It is pulled straight from the legendary MS-20, and you can tell. It has that gritty, biting resonance that makes everything you run through it sound like it is being pushed to the edge of breaking. When you crank the intensity on the delay, the whole thing starts to self-oscillate, turning into a feedback monster that feels alive under your fingers. Now, the ribbon controller is a bit of a love it or hate it situation. It is not a piano, so do not expect to play precise melodies with ease. It is more of a tactile surface for sliding between pitches and creating those wobbly, sci-fi glissandos that define the character of this device. The addition of the pitch LFO is a massive win, too. Being able to select different wave shapes and tweak the intensity on the fly means you can go from subtle, dreamy vibrato to full-on rhythmic madness in seconds. It is surprisingly deep for something that runs on a couple of batteries and has a tiny built-in speaker. Speaking of that speaker, it is definitely not for high-fidelity listening, but there is a certain charm to hearing these raw analog waveforms buzzing out of such a small plastic housing. It is the kind of thing you throw in a bag, take to a park, and suddenly you are spending an hour just tweaking echoes and filter sweeps. Of course, it is not perfect. The build is lightweight, which makes it portable, but it also feels a bit fragile if you're tossing it around in a backpack without a case. Also, the lack of MIDI or CV connectivity means you are pretty much stuck playing it by hand, which limits how you can integrate it into a larger setup. You are essentially tethered to the ribbon. But honestly, that limitation is part of the appeal. It forces you to be physical with your sound. It is not about programming a perfect sequence. It is about grabbing the knobs and wrestling with the feedback loop until you find something that sounds interesting. If you're looking for a clean, polished sound, this is absolutely not the right tool. But if you want a portable, battery-powered noise machine that can add some serious analog grit and spacey echoes to your setup without breaking the bank, this thing is a total blast. It is messy, it is unpredictable, and it is exactly the kind of gear that reminds you why analog synthesis is still so much fun to play with.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.